Richmond. Yay, welcome. Glad you're here. Okay, I think we can get started, Fio.
Okay.
Well, welcome everybody. We're very excited that you are here. You are all in for a major treat tonight and all that Fio has to share. Fiorella, I'll let you introduce yourself, but Fio is an award-winning hairstylist, salon owner, has been an educator for multiple brands, and just an amazing human being, as Magda said, overall. So I'm very excited to be chatting with you. We'll be talking all about how she's become so successful, specifically how she made Modern Salon Top 100 2 years in a row, which is amazing. So I don't think I said this, but I'm Alyssa, and I'm going to be helping moderate tonight's webinar with Fio. Also, Liz and Ed are here behind the scenes, and they'll be chatting with you in the chat box, and they also may chime in. Many of you sent in questions with your registration, so during the webinar tonight, we'll be answering them, and we'll also have a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, there will be time for us to answer them, or you can write them in. All right, so without further ado, Fio, I'm going to hand it to you. Can you please share a little bit about you, and we'd love to hear your story.
Yes, so welcome everybody. So if you don't know who I am Fiorella Castro. Everyone calls me Fio. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I've been in Florida for 12 years. And prior to becoming a hairstylist, I actually was in the banking world, and then 2008 happened. So I decided to switch careers to something more recession proof. So I became a hairstylist, and it has been the most rewarding career I have ever chosen in my life. I was working in a salon for about 8 years, and I decided to leap and let the net appear, and I became a salon suite owner 3 years ago. And then I actually, alongside with that, Gloss Genius was something that it fell onto my lap when I started my business, and it has been such a seamless experience just being a salon suite owner throughout all these years. And when I say seamless, like nothing has made me want to throw in the towel. Nothing has made me want to ever give up. I mean, obviously there's hardships. However, nothing has ever made me want to think like, what other career should I venture into? So everything's been great.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited to hear more. And making Modern Salon 2 years in a row is such an achievement. I know it takes a lot of hard work and creativity. So let's jump right into it. So can you share or start off just by telling us when you made Modern Salon, where were you? What did it feel like? Maybe even the first time, because this is just so exciting.
Oh my gosh. So I literally will never forget. I have a client who she wanted to do a mommy makeover, and I was in the middle of doing her balayage, and I got like a notification on my Apple Watch, and I saw it was a DM from Modern Salon, and I was like, why would Modern Salon DM me right now? And I checked it, and they said that I made the Modern Salon's Top 100 of 2019. I started crying hysterical, and she's like, what's going on? And I told her, and it was just like, I couldn't believe it. And usually I'm really good at like not wanting to pick up my phone while I'm working. Like as far as like wanting to check Instagram and check emails and that stuff. But there was just something of like wanting to go back and forth and see my phone and see like what they're saying and what's going on and what are we going to do. So it was actually really cool. And what I think is actually really awesome is Modern Salon, a lot of brands, they end up, I guess you could say like, I don't know if they affiliate or Modern Salon like has like sponsors that they do like a Modern Salon box with. So they sent me like a great goodie box of things that like I could venture out to trying. And they sent me like 5 copies of that issue of the magazine. So I had copies to be able to like post up in places.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Where were you the second time?
Oh my gosh. So the second time, I was actually home, and by chance, every now and then, like, you know, I don't know if you guys are the same how I am, but like I have like my usual places that I will venture to like automatically. Like I won't just flip through the feed. Like I'll actually go to the search bar and like look up Modern Salon and go to like a friend's Instagram just to see like what they're doing, what they're up to. So I had gone to Modern Salon's Instagram and I saw that they had a new highlight. And when I noticed they had the highlight, they had just started uploading like the people's pictures. And obviously my name is like a little bit down like the alphabetical order. So I hadn't seen my name yet. So I went to the link that they had in their bio and they had just listed it. And same thing, I screamed. My dog was like looking at me like, why are you screaming? What's the matter? And I couldn't believe it, especially too, because I didn't even know it was possible to do it 2 years in a row. So being able to see it twice, I was even more like the tears were heavier year 2 than they were year 1.
That's crazy that you caught it right when they uploaded it too.
Yeah, seriously.
That's amazing. Well, I'm excited to hear how you made the list. And so let's start off with creating the perfect social post. So you are an absolute content queen. Can you tell us how you stand out on social media with what you share and how you create the perfect post?
So one thing that I actually like to tell a lot of my friends about, that a photographer actually told me, that on iPhones, if you have an iPhone on your camera, they actually have like a camera grid. So you can put the camera grid on to make sure that your photo is centered, like your subject is centered. So that's something that I'm always big on, like making sure like my client is centered to the photo so they're not like off and there isn't too much background. So that's something that's big for that with posting. Also too, when it comes to posting, I was always talking about like how some clients are really big on, or just anybody, they're really big on like not wanting to do too many hashtags. Like, don't be afraid of hashtags. Like the whole point of social media, wanting to hit top 100 and wanting to do all these things is because you want the visibility, right? So you have to make sure that you use the hashtags, you tag the people that you want to see you so that you can raise your visibility.
Really quick, how do you compose your hashtag bank? I know you hashtag the major publications, but do you do local hashtags too?
Yes. So how I look at it is like, I look at it I want my hashtags to attract not only publications or, future sponsors, but also to like new clients. So for me, my first, let's say, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 30 hashtags. So like the first 10 hashtags, I make sure they're all like local. Like I have West Palm Beach hairstylist, West Palm Beach balayage artist, West Palm Beach colorist. And then once I do all those, and then I'll do, so also to brand yourself. So I always do hashtag Fiorella Castro hair because that's my studio name. That's my name. So I want to make sure that I myself brand myself. I do that. And then I also do all the publications. And then also too, like if there's anybody that you want to make sure they see it, you have to make sure you hashtag them too, because that's what a lot of the social media, I feel like that's how, I mean, I don't know if you can agree, Alyssa, but like, do you guys ever really like check like the Gloss Genius hashtag?
All the time, every day.
Yeah. So, those are things that people look at to make sure that you use that so that you have your visibility there.
Yep. Are there any other parts of the post that people should remember to do when using their posts?
Tagging, so not only hashtagging, but you also want to tag like the actual people on the photo. For instance, like if you want Modern Salon to see it, like tag Modern Salon. I think you can tag up to 20 people. Make sure you tag 20 people every single time. Like if you have 19, think of somebody else that you want to see you to tag you. So for me, it's always Modern Salon, Beauty Launchpad, American Salon, Behind the Chair. I even tag Mary. Also too, I've also been good at like trying to figure out like who are the editors of the magazines, so I would always, like before, I think when I hit top 100 in 2019, it was Allison Alhamed. She was the editor-in-chief of Modern Salon magazine. So I was following her and kind of like liking her stuff and commenting on her stuff. So I always try to find the people who are also behind the scenes to see like, see what they're doing and see what they're creating. But they also are very visible too. So they put themselves out there so people know who they are. So they're not that hard to find. But yeah, you just want to make sure you use all your tags, because if you want to be seen, you have to put yourself out there to be seen.
An easy way to hack this is just by having everyone listed in your notes. So
Yeah.
all the people you want to tag in your notes, and then all your hashtags in your notes, to copy and paste every time. Or
Oh,
you
yes.
can use an app that does this for you. So that was my next question for you. Do you use any apps to schedule your content at all?
No, I actually don't. And I've always been told that I should play with like Planoly and all those things, but I haven't really played with them too much, because not that, like, when I look at the Planoly, like I'll put a few things to like plan, and then like I'll do someone's hair one day and I want to post it right then and there, and then it ruins my plan. So I just decided to stop using it. But one thing that I will say is that if you guys, I'm not sure if Androids have this, but I know iPhones, you can do text replacement. So I always use the text replacement option to make hashtags. So if you go on your notes and you write out all your 30 hashtags for, let's say, like a balayage photo, you can copy and paste all of that into, like, for instance, like I think I use like 5W, so www, and I have all like my generic hashtags in that, so that I don't have to like type each and every one out. I can just text replace it, if that makes
You
sense.
have the best hacks, Theo.
It's just so much easier.
Well, I guess the fact that you don't use an app proves that you don't need an expensive app to be successful in your content. So that's amazing. We got a question in from Magda, who's actually here, and she asked, what was your first step to moving beyond the chair?
So one of my biggest things was, one thing that I realized was, and I'm sure you guys can all agree as hairstylists, that we teach a lot of things to our clients. We're constantly teaching them how to do their hair correctly, how to blow dry the right way, what products to use and how to use it. So if you really think about it, it's so much extra added time in your day and in your schedule to do all that extra stuff. So what I started doing was creating content so that I could refer them to the content. I could show them, like, hey, like, if you want me to teach you how to flat iron curl your hair, watch this video I created, so you can just watch it later at home. And that was something that really got me comfortable with wanting to actually like constantly record and play with things.
I love that. It makes things so easy and saves you time.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of video, I know another way that you really stand out on social is through video. So can you share what kind of video content you make?
So it's so funny because I feel like over the last 3 years at least, they've like constantly changed. So like at first I was doing more on like the tutorial side, like personal tutorials. Like, let me show you how I curl my hair. Let me show you how I flat iron curl my hair. Let me show you how I blow dry my hair. And then it became like, once I started getting like really heavy into bridal, I started showing how to do like certain updos and certain, you know, glam wave sets. And then as you can see here, I'm showing everybody how I disinfect. But also just things that are fun. So one thing is, you know, when you go through Instagram and you guys flip through, you know, think about like the things that make you stop, right? So like, how many times have you seen a tutorial and you're like, I know how to do that. So you kind of just like exit off. So when you see something different and you see something fun, like those are the things that stop you. So for me, I always try to think like, if I create a video, like, is this going to make somebody stop their scrolling?
Right. And your disinfecting video didn't just make them stop, but it made them smile. And I feel like, you know, in this season of COVID, like there's so many like precautions that we have to think about before going into the salon, and you made it so much fun.
Thank you.
So going to the next slide, you did Wedding Wednesday, which is such a fun series with Emily. Can you share with us what production is like when you do make these kind of videos and collaborations?
Yes. So Wedding Wednesdays. So Emily and I, so we work a lot of weddings together. She's a makeup artist, and we just always have millions of questions that go, obviously, when it comes to weddings. So we wanted to see if we can do something to make brides who find us via social media. We wanted to see if we can make something that will make it even easier to answer questions without them like having to reach out, you know? So for instance, we would literally block days off on our days to create a video. So she had her ring light, I had my phone, and we would block off a few hours just to record whatever we could record. And I'm a very techie person. My brother was super techie growing up. So like he was the one who would always teach me how to do things and play with things. So I was the one editing all of our content. And she was the one brainstorming, like, what do we have to record next time? Like, what do we need to talk about next time? And a lot of times too, like we would want to record, like, let's say about how to book your glam squad. And then we decided like, wait, we need to talk about like, you know, what they have to look forward to when we do get booked as our glam squad. So like we would end up double booking just so that like we weren't having to like schedule too many videos week by week.
That's awesome. And I think like one thing to note is like you have like 20 something videos in this wedding series, probably even more. And you guys all filmed it on your iPhone. And I think people think you need like special cameras and equipment to create this kind of content, but you really don't.
Not at all. So if you guys do not have InShot, InShot will be your best friend editing any video. They have amazing music. They have amazing GIFs, and you can actually edit all your videos to the right size. So like you can edit a video to be an Instagram post, or you can edit the video to be an Instagram story, which is crazy. So for us, like playing with that, it's literally the best app I've ever used to edit videos.
I love InShot too. Fio, we got a question from Kay Ham, or she said she's bad at taking pics of clients. Do you have some tips
Yes.
for taking photos? Okay.
Yes. So if you have any way, so I don't know if you are using Gloss Genius, Kay, but so on the Gloss Genius app, what I do is they on the notes part of any of the appointments or any of the clients, you get a reminder, a text reminder, like, you know, you have an appointment coming up with this person. Here are some notes that you've written about her. So what I would do is put a note, like, make sure you take photos of this person. And it would remind me like when they come in, like, oh, I got to make sure I take photos. So it's just something to kind of like keep in the back of my head to be like, okay, now I know it's going to happen. Or also too, like if you want to use your phone, set a reminder or like an alarm to, I know it sounds crazy, but you know, if you think about it, social media can be your best form of advertisement. So why not use that to have people see what it is that you do and show it all off there, you know?
Fio, do you take all your photos outside?
I do.
For your good lighting?
I do. I honestly prefer outside because inside, like for instance, like my studio right now, we do have fluorescent overhead lighting. However, like with my window and then like weird shadowing, it's just so like crazy to be able to like make sure they stand the right way or look the right way, or like, oh, the color looks kind of funny because the cloud is covering weird. So I always try to find a spot outside that shows everything off the way I want it to be shown.
Yeah. And I would just maybe create like a signature. I feel like you kind of have a signature style to your photo. Find yours so that every single time you go to take pictures of your client, you know exactly how you want them to stand, how you want the hair to lay, things like that.
I just saw a question. Okay. How do you ask clients to take pictures? Okay. So here's one thing that I'm going to tell you, Jen, that's really crazy. And you're going to remember this when it actually happens one day. So every now and then I was kind of getting awkward myself because I'm thinking like, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want them to think I'm wasting their time. And then when I started to make it like a regular thing, I would just literally say like, hey, do you mind if we take 5 minutes to take a picture? And don't like be like scared about it. You just want to kind of be honest and just go ahead and say like, hey, do you mind if we take some photos of you right now? And trust me when I say there's nothing more honorable than to be told by your hairstylist that they want to take a photo of your hair. So I actually had a client that after me starting the habit of creating photos for everyone, she got upset that I didn't take photos of her. She actually told me like, oh, you didn't take, she sent me a DM saying like, oh, you forgot to take photos of me today. Like you forgot, why didn't you take photos of me? So once you get into a habit of it, it's going to become almost like a habit for them, like, and weird if you don't take photos of them.
I also think like hyping up your client and infusing confidence into them is what makes it easy to ask if you can take a picture. Because they'll make them feel good. They're like, I have to take your picture. You look so good.
Especially too, like if I have a client who like I just did like a transformation on, and I always like flip their hair forward in front of them so they could see their hair in the mirror. I'm the one like, oh my gosh, I love it so
Right.
much, you know? And it's like, all right, let's go take pictures. Let's go show this off, you know?
Right.
So totally hyping them up. Yes, I agree. Hyping them up is the best thing to do too.
Awesome. Going back to creating content, I know you're so busy and it can be challenging collaborating with another professional. Can you share how you make time for it?
Yes. So when I was doing Wedding Wednesday with Emily, so creating those videos is so overwhelming and so time consuming. However, it's literally something that we wanted to do, and we wanted to be consistent with it. So the only way to do that is to make sure that we gave ourselves the time. So obviously being in the salon, the last thing you can do is if you don't block yourself off, you're going to start booking things in that spot anyway. So I would make sure that I would block certain times on my days that I would either have her come or go to her house to record the videos. And then also to give myself time to edit the videos. So don't think that blocking time on your schedule is crazy if you want to create content, because I know how crazy it could be, you know, tagging all the people, doing all the hashtags, editing like the lighting on the photos or editing the videos that you create. Like I know how tedious and time consuming it can be. So give yourself that time 100%.
That's a really great tip. And if you're at a good place in your business where you can block off a day or do this on the weekend, just prioritize it, be intentional by putting it on your calendar, and you'll make it happen. I think this is a good segue into the next question from Rachel. So she asked, how do you balance being in the salon, creating content, and your personal life?
Okay, so being in the salon is obviously like, I can't imagine like wanting to block time off, but I would definitely say that when it comes to blocking time off to create the content. So when I say create content, it's more editing and like uploading them, because I think that's what happens. Like I'm sure like everyone who's on here, if we were to look through your gallery, you probably have 1,000 photos of hair that you haven't uploaded. So give yourself that time to go back and edit the photos, to put your watermark on it, or do the hashtagging or do the tagging so you can actually upload it. So that's what I mean when it comes to like creating content. But also too, you know, my personal life, I am lucky that I am with somebody who doesn't mind that I'm a workaholic, but at the same time too, like I really like, I was bad up until this year about honoring my days off. That's one thing that I will 100% admit. But right now, like when it comes to having a day off, like a day off is a day off. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to like, that's literally completely off. Like I will not post content. I will not, you know, create content. I will not take an appointment. The only times I will do that is if it's like there's nowhere else I could put somebody and they're going to go see somebody else. But other than that, definitely honor your time off. And yeah, it's pretty much when it comes to that, like honor your time. And when it comes to creating content, definitely. So I think I just saw somebody ask about that, creating the content. So when it comes to creating the content, I block off, I would say, give yourself like, let's say 30 minutes, you know, like let's say you take some photos and you need some time to watermark them and upload it. Like give yourself 30 minutes, because you have to do your caption, you have to do your hashtagging, you have to do your tagging, and that all takes time. So I would say give yourself 30 minutes when it comes to like a photo. But when it comes to creating a video, I would definitely, that's something that I would give yourself probably at least an hour for, because one, you have to create the video, two, you have to edit it. And when you have to get used to using the app and like playing around with it, like that's definitely something that's going to be so time consuming. So I would either block that time off to actually edit the photos and videos, or best advice, if you have like your own personal downtime on your days off, not necessarily like create the content, but like play with the apps, like get familiar with them, like see what it is that you have to do certain things, so that when you actually do go to use it, it's not like, oh my gosh, this is new, what am I doing, you know?
Perfect. Okay, moving on to products and education. Now, I know you've been a brand advocate for a few brands now. Can you share with us who you've worked with, how you started working with them, and how it's helped you level up in your career?
Yes. So I was once an educator for sexy hair. So I am very good friends with an artist. Her name is Jessica Domini, and she is an educator for sexy hair as well. She still is. And her and I do a lot of bridal hair. Well, not together, but we both do a lot of bridal hair. She's on the other side of Florida. And when she saw what I was doing, she was like, "Oh my gosh, Fio, you have to become an educator for sexy." So what I ended up doing was I applied to be an educator for them, and the interview process was pretty crazy. Can I talk about that? So what I did was they asked me to create a 10-minute video of me creating an upstyle with at least 3 sexy hair products. And so me having to do that video, do a tutorial, figure out how to upload it and send it to them. That was pretty crazy, but super fun. And it had been so long that I ever had to submit a resume to somebody. So having to like figure out how to make a resume again and submit it, that was something that was different for me, but it was fun for sure. So yeah, so once becoming an educator for them, I love how it like completely expanded my network, like beyond further than I can imagine. The people that I connected with, the artists that I met, the things that I learned. I mean, it's something that I'll never take away.
I'd love to see that audition video.
Oh my gosh, if I find it, I think it's somewhere on a private YouTube. So there's some way that I can make it not private. I'll see if I can send it to you guys.
I know you create education, not just around product, but also business stuff,
Yeah.
Being a Gloss Genius educator. So my question is, with that, how do you balance sharing things with an audience full of clients and other professionals?
So for me, like, you know, a lot of things that I realize too is like when I flip through my own feed, because I actually do like to check my insights. Like I like to check to see if people have actually shared it, if they've saved it and things like that. So when I flip through my own feed, I actually like I like to stay self-aware that I have like, oh, this is something that's more client friendly. Like that's how I like to think about it. So when I have things that aren't to like my fellow hairstylists, I can help them with something. That's when I'm like, okay, it's time to make something for them.
Awesome. And aside from product education, you do technique content too. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes. So one thing that I did realize about like creating content and like seeing things all over Instagram, I was realizing that like a lot of hashtags, I don't know if you guys look up hashtags, but I look up a lot of hashtags. Like for instance, like this one's with curtain bangs, right? So I still have a million people asking me about curtain bangs. So I was like, you know what, let me see what some of these artists out here are doing with curtain bangs. And I looked up hashtag curtain bangs. So this beautiful young girl, she came in wanting some curtain bangs, and her mom kindly enough hung out and she said, "Do you want me to help you record the curtain bangs?" And I was like, please do. So she actually was really kind enough to hold the phone and come over and watch me and while I was doing the curtain bangs. But it was something that I thought was great because the reality is, it's like I said, it's part of the visibility so that people can see you. They can see what you're up to and see what you provide for our community. So definitely like make sure, this is actually really important when it comes to hashtags, like make sure your hashtags are relevant to your actual post so people can see what it is that you're doing.
Exactly. In this video, you also had that whoosh moment.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so stepping away from social stuff for a bit, because I know there's a lot more to it than that. Let's talk about branding, since image is everything in our industry. So how do you showcase yours and make yours consistent on all of your channels?
Yes. So when it comes to branding, you just want to make sure that like you think about like what it is that your brand is, right? So like break down like what is your brand? What are you showing off? Like what do you want to showcase, right? So for me, like I love balayage, I love bridal, I love bobs. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll most likely see a ton of bridal, lots of updos, lots of balayage. So make sure you kind of stay on point with that. But also too, don't be afraid of investing in yourself, which I think is huge. you know, find a branding photographer, find someone who will come to you and take photos of you doing your thing, because there aren't a lot of people who really have the chance to show off what we do because we're busy, we're stylists. So if you have the time and you have the budget to invest into what it is that you do, then I 100% back you up in doing that, because there's nothing more beautiful than some amazing photos of you doing your thing.
Is that what you did here for this picture on your website?
Yes.
It's stunning.
Yes. Yeah. So I ended up finding a local brand photographer, a new one. And it's so funny. So I had actually, his wife, so I found them and then he saw my Instagram. So I was able to support him. But what was cool is that his wife ended up coming to support me as a stylist. So it was actually pretty cool. So you never know. You might even get a customer in return.
Can you tell us about your website and how it's leveled up your brand?
Oh my gosh. So my website, so with Gloss Genius, I literally can't even imagine. So it is something that's so much, how can I say, with hairstylists, one thing that we always feel like we're lacking is time. And so for me to be able to literally send somebody a link and say, like, here is my calendar at your disposal, like do whatever it is that you need and book what it is that you need at your fingertips, has literally made my life and being a business owner significantly easier. I mean, even up until this day, you know, I'm sure you guys have people that DM you and they send you, or somebody, you have a random friend who gives their friend a text message with your phone number and some random person texts you. It's nice that you can just send them a link and have them book your services. And so you're not having to go back and forth with text messages or phone calls to make these appointments, which I can't. Like, I remember those days when I used to work in a salon and I just remember hearing the phones going off constantly. So not having a front desk staff and working for myself, it's been brilliant.
And how do clients respond to your website?
Oh, they love it. They love it. They absolutely love it. And I think that's one thing that, like, I love, because think about it, as artists and as people, like, we like things that are aesthetically pleasing, and it's just such an aesthetically pleasing format.
Do you find that having online booking helps you to create more content?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Because for me, like, instead of having to answer my phone, if I get a random phone call for an appointment, I just get a text message that says, this person wants to come in, do you approve it? And I could just say yes. You know, so for me to be able to do that versus having to be on the phone, and there's nothing more annoying than having your phone against your ear and your neck and trying to create content, because obviously your phone's in your ear.
Or someone calls you while you're recording a video.
Right. And then cut your video in half and you have to start all over.
Your portfolio here is stunning, Theo.
Thank you.
Now, there's one thing you do that I don't think we do enough of is, I know you set time to collaborate and connect with other creators outside of the salon, or even just like use your mannequins if you don't even have models.
Yes.
Can you share with us your creative process and how you created these dreamy looks?
So when it comes to, so on the left side, I have my beautiful mannequin. It's so funny because I actually refer to her as Tessa, because for all of you hairstylists, you guys all know. So I don't know if you guys knew this, Alyssa and Ed and Liz, but mannequins actually have names. Like, they all come with a name. So that mannequin, her name is Tessa. I always just say it's time to play with Tessa. But yeah, so I blocked off time, or for instance, like if I had a random cancellation the day before or the day of, you know, if it didn't get filled in, instead of, you know, sitting around doing nothing, I would grab my mannequin and I would play. I have a friend, my friend Jessica Domini, she actually has told me how much she loves playing with wigs. She just thinks it's fun, it's different, you can create different looks. And also too, the color is really cool on the wigs too. So being able to not have to worry about like creating that color on something so quickly and then do the look. But that's something that I do a lot too. So if I have a cancellation, I'll just, like I said, instead of sitting around, I will create on a mannequin. Or my friend on the right, I did her highlights that day. And she said, if you need some time to create, or if you want to play with my hair, let me know. And then I asked her, I was like, hey, can I put a wig on your head? So I did. And then we went outside and we took a photo.
Oh my gosh, that's genius. So just do your magic on the wig and then wait till you have a human body to put
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, something else I wanted to mention that I feel like really makes you stand out is how connected you are to your audience. I love that you're not afraid to get personal with them about your journey. So this is a moment I'll never forget. Can you share your six-figure story and what you did to manifest in that?
Yes. So I'm getting a little personal with you guys, so bear with me. But this book is literally a manifestation book. I was told by my sister, who always says, like, if you want something, write it down a million times and write it down as if you have it. And in 2017, I lost my father, and in the same time frame, I was in a relationship that had fallen, and I ended up having to still live with that person. So there was a day I went outside, and understanding my sister's advice, I brought a book with me. I was letting my dog run around, and I was just writing that incessantly. I am a six-figure hairdresser. I am a six-figure hairdresser. And everything that I wanted for my studio that I actually had just signed my lease for, everything that I wanted my studio to create for me, I was writing down as if I already have it. So fast forward to the end of the year, and I had my mom help me one day, and so where I live, my mom used to live here. And you guys know, as busy hairstylists, sometimes you don't even have time to clean your own house. So my mom did me a favor, and she came to clean my apartment while I was working. And I had actually checked my reports from Gloss Genius to see my numbers for the year. It was the end of 2018, I believe. And I fell on the floor, literally. Like, I couldn't believe that I actually did it. Like, I did it. I hit six figures in services. It was amazing. And my mom, that same exact day, it's almost like it was aligned to happen. My mom found the book, and I guess it fell on the floor, and it opened to that page. And that's when I took the picture when I got home, because it was opened on my desk right in front of me. And I was like, I did it. I actually did it. It's here.
That's amazing, Theo. I think we just found our next webinar with you. How I became a stylist. Alrighty. I'm seeing more questions come in, and thank you, Theo, for sharing that story. It's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in. I see some more now. So looks like Lily is asking, how do you ask a client to record? Do you give them a discount or anything?
So that specific client, her mom is somebody who she's also, I guess you could say she's not a hairstylist, but she's somebody who she's like an up and coming blogger, I guess you can say. So she's very big on content herself. So she's somebody who like was totally cool with just like, she was the one who offered it. So when it comes to recording, I don't ever necessarily ask anybody to record. However, like, I will ask somebody like, hey, do you mind taking a photo? And I'll actually show them, like, hold the phone like this, tilt it like that, take it from this angle. And I'll let them know, like, this is where I want you to take the photo. And they don't mind. I mean, to be honest, it's the exposure of themselves or their child or their friend that you're doing it for. So they do it with no problem. And I don't give them a discount for taking the photo, no.
Yep. So to answer Jen's question is you don't pay clients to have them model.
No. So whenever I have somebody model, so I don't know if you've ever done this. Like Alyssa said earlier, I hype my clients up to the nth degree. Like, I constantly tell them, like, your hair is so beautiful. It's so long and pretty. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but I've had some clients tell me, like, out loud, like, if you ever want to play, just let me know. And I tell them, well, I'm going to hold you to that. So let me know, or I'll let you know when I need you so I can play with your hair. So, you know, if I have a downtime or a block of time that I know that I can have them come and like be my model, I'll say like, hey, can you come by X time, X day to come be my model? And I won't charge them or they won't pay me. So it's kind of like a gratis thing. But also too, if it's like a color transformation, I only do color transformations when it's somebody who she knows that she wants to do something crazy, but she doesn't know what she wants to do. And then they'll end up asking me, like, what would you do on me? So if it's something that I know that I can really create like crazy content out of, I actually will do like an at product charge thing. But I tell them, like, if you're going to do this, like, I can do it at my, just like whatever I want to do. Like if we're doing the transformation, you're letting me transform you. So not that you don't have say, but you kind of don't.
I also would say if you know another professional or have a beauty bestie that you know may want to collaborate with you, definitely just link up with them. I think everyone, it may just be afraid to find that person to collaborate and don't know who to ask. So don't be afraid to ask.
For sure.
Another question from Samara. She said, you mentioned you look at your reports. How do you keep track of everything like income and reports?
So I look at my reports. So on my down days, so like for instance, on like Mondays, I actually give myself, I'm an early bird. Like when I say I'm an early bird, I'm an early bird. I'm up like, if I'm lucky, I sleep in at like 8 o'clock, but I'm usually up at like 6, 7 in the morning. So, what I do is I create office time. So office time for me is running my reports, doing my budget, running my numbers, and also too, like seeing how the rest of my week is looking and seeing like what I need to do to either create content or even upsell my clients while I'm, for the rest of my week.
Awesome. Do you use an app to run reports? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, what was it?
She's asking, do you use an app to run your reports?
Oh yeah, so my reports, here we go. So the reports, I can actually run them straight through Gloss Genius. And it's nice because you can do like quarter 1, quarter 2, you can even do custom. Like I can actually see the reports of the month, the week, whatever it is that I need to see. So that's how I do it. And also too, so I don't use QuickBooks, but I actually also have a personal accountant. So she is somebody who, when I run my reports, I can send her the reports to see if she can help me with like my profit and loss statements and things like that.
Does it automatically pull everything in from your like appointment data?
The reports?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. What about expenses?
What about
like
them?
When you're writing stuff off for taxes or writing stuff off in your salon. Do you keep track of that in there as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's all the questions that we have so far. If you have any more, we're going to be sending a follow-up email with this replay, but thank you everyone so much for joining. I know I'm very inspired by Fio and her creativity tonight, but do you want to tell everyone how they can get hooked up with Gloss Genius through you?
Yes. So you guys, if you guys want to give Gloss Genius a whirl, you guys can use the code Fiorella Castro and it'll give you $30 towards your account, which is pretty much, you have no idea, like what you guys are getting is out of this world. And if we're talking about an incentive, especially for this year, it's something you definitely want to give a try. But also too, if you guys have any questions beyond here too, like anything about the app and using it, as you can see, my Instagram is there, so you guys can ask me all the questions if you have any other ones there too.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone so much for joining. Again, we'll send you a replay of tonight's event, so stay tuned for that. And Fio, do you have any last words for everyone?
Yes. So obviously, as you guys can see, that with all of this, just use social media as exactly what it's meant for, to be social. Drop the comments, leave the DMs, like ask the questions, like be social on social media, and when you're creating your content, use questions at the end of your captions that'll inspire people to want to answer your questions. So like I said, if you guys have any other questions about this stuff, let me know. I'm here too. And I'm so grateful to see you all here.
Thank you, Fio, and thank you everyone so much for joining. Stay tuned.
Thank you for having me, guys.